Hello. I wrote the poem that I'm going to read at the beginning of what turns out to be a lengthy pandemic. I went back and forth trying to decide whether or not to read it because it's almost a cliche that every poet has a COVID poem. But I decided to read it because we learned just a couple of days ago that my son has COVID, and we probably all do too. So I figured I would read it in honor of that. It takes its title from a Flaming Groovies song called Slow Death. It starts with a quote from William Morris. "The idle singer of an empty day." And the poem is called Slow Death. Incantation. Burnt umber, gray earth rock, mist and fog clouding and occluding the view from my yard. The yard, a sick pine tilting in the corner, run-down wooden garage and pale deck flowing into focus. Arise with me, O world. Dawn first warms, then slices through. My dawn, arise with me, my sick pine, rotting garage and pale deck, into the hours of a day filled with family and fear. 1. Aghast, I make coffee and ask my digital assistant to play music in the family room before my children wake, before my wife wakes, and before time succumbs to things. 2. Before and after breakfast, I ride the stationary bike in our basement and lift weights. Anything out of the ordinary recedes a little into the future, whatever that will be when we get there. I climb the steps from the basement into the noise of my family, watching videos on the TV, listening to music, discussing the particulars of our day. 3. Comfort and grace. The living room is still dark, even with the lights set to bright. Gray and rainy, and extending ourselves one more minute by replying to email or a text message or phone call, deliberately checking each person in our lives off a mental list with a sigh. 4. An ordinary day, uninterrupted time. Minutes unbound from necessity to stand at my kitchen counter and write a poem without children running at me demanding milk, hugs, goldfish crackers, candy. Selfish and unkind thoughts, self-isolating, and yet to flip a slow death and morph it to slow death's approach as it broadcasts from the kitchen hub. 5. I'm the mud all morning, he says. We smashed and buried rocks and chipped ice at the garage door. My son asks, where do diamonds come from? Do these rocks have carbon inside? And our neighbor appears at the fence. She asks how we're holding up, says they're doing fine, nothing too bothersome over there. I tell her we are happy to help if they need anything, and she replies the same. I return to my son smashing rocks, wondering what this means to him beyond being off school and self-isolating with his family. What does it mean to any of us? Why not smash rocks and dig in the mud? My neighbors continue to shovel ice and snow from their deck. My son and I decide it's lunchtime. We remove our filthy boots, wash our hands, singing happy birthday twice. 6. More pancakes. The cry interrupts the writing of this poem. Oh, to be living in a time with a surplus of pancakes. Why, the child shouts, why? Voice raised to the absolute limit, chanting and antagonizing, as any good 6-year-old should. Why can't we go to the grocery store, not angry, half asleep and full of hunger? For the next new experience, he asks our digital assistant to play Nothing But Flowers by the Talking Heads. 7. They scream from the basement, they scream from the stairs, they scream from the kitchen, they scream from their bedrooms, they scream from the family room, they scream from the living room. One wants milk, one wants new shows to watch, one wants a diaper change, one wants a new toy, one wants a walk outside, one wants to smash rocks, one wants what one wants. They scream in unison for either parent to attend, for the adults to solve their problems. They resort to social media to plead for help. 8. Somehow we arrive at dinner as a family, as individuals neatly made from our home technology, relationships, needs, and wants. I make plain pasta for the children, and you and I eat leftover lentil pasta and a tomato sauce while splitting sour beer. 9. At bedtime, we fall into each other, exhausted from proximity, from filling hours with words, sharing minutes we would have spent alone, instead learning what we each feel when confronted with night, with the fear of night permeating each thought. Tick, gesture, smile. As news rolls along and the numbers rise, headline after headline, showing no peak and no valley for the virus and the slide. 10. Faith at 4 a.m. when you wake to piss and can't fall back asleep. Faith when faced with your failures and fears in the mirror while your children sleep, while no cars go by, no lights shine in the world, and all everywhere lay quietly coiled in dreams without boundaries, in want of miracles and trembling and unanchored, adrift everywhere, waves upon waves, in silence, sleeping, silently.